This tutorial is going to demonstrate how to use the for loop using C#. I've set up a active server page here, and we're going to demonstrate this using ASP.NET and this page in particular. What I have here on the page is just a simple label that gives an instruction to type a number in this text box, and then once that text box has a number in it, we should click the button, and then what's going to happen is whatever number is in the text box, we want to add the numbers 1 through whatever that number is. So if we type a 10 in our text box, hit go, we want 1 through 10 to be added to the list box. Now the action happens on when we click the button, so we can double click that go button and arrive at our button one click event handler, and we can actually start putting our code in. Now before we can actually type the for loop, there's one issue that needs to be handled, and that is the text box that we type the number in. Even though it's a number to us humans, the computer doesn't know that it's a number. It still thinks it's a string variable or a string property, so we need to actually convert that to an integer. And I'm not trying to demonstrate integer conversions here, but trust me when I say this, my int convert to int 32 text box 1.text. all that does is converts my text to an integer, so we can use that integer in our for loop, perform mathematical operations on it, etc., etc. Now I'm going to also add one to that because it'll become more apparent once we do the for loop, and I'll show you why we're actually adding one to the result. So now we can do our for loop. So we type the keyword for and in parentheses. Now we're gonna type 3 things in our parentheses here. The first thing is the initial value of an integer that we're going to use to loop on, integer a. The initial value we want is 1, because I said we wanted 1 through whatever was in the text box. The second thing is going to be a condition that we're going to test against to make sure that a is less than my int. And then the third thing is, what do we do once we perform the code that we want to perform over and over again? And that is, we're just going to add 1 to the variable a, and a++ does that. It's just like saying a equals a plus 1. So what do we want to do each time it loops? We want to add the current value of a to the list box items collection. So to do that, we're going to list box 1.items.add. We use the add method of the items collection, or add to the items collection, and we're just going to convert the value of a back to string again. So a to string, and our statement, and that's all there is to it, really. We'll go back over this again. So let's suppose the user typed 10 in the text box. That means my int is now equal to 11, because it's going to add 1 to whatever when it converted it to an integer, and then add 1. So if we type 10 and then click our button, my int is going to be 11. So the first time it comes here and does the first loop, or the first instruction in the loop, the initial value of a is 1. So when it comes to the second thing, my int is the value is 11, so it is true. It's less than my int. So it's going to perform this operation here and add the current value of a, which is 1, convert it to a string, and add it to our list box. So we have a 1 in our list box now. It's done with that. It's going to go to here and see what we're going to do now. We're going to add 1 to a. So now a is 2. And it's going to test it again. It's still less than 11, so it'll add 2. And it's going to keep going. Once it gets to 10, it's still less than 11. It'll add 10. But once it gets to 11, it's no longer less than 11, so it won't add it. So the last number that gets added is 10. That is why we added the 1 to our value when we converted it to an integer. Now we could also have put the, if we would have not put the +1 here, we could have said a is less than my int +1. We could have put the +1 here too, but it's just a way to clean it up. If we don't put the +1 and we type 10 and hit the button, then we just get 1 through 9, and that's probably not what we want. So you have to think those things through. Let's see if I thought it through. We'll go ahead, and I think I saved it already. We'll go ahead and run, and we'll test it out with a few numbers and see if it works. So we get the controls up, and we'll start with a small number. We'll put 5 in there. 1 through 5 looks like it worked there. We'll try a little bit bigger. We'll go 100. Oh, we didn't clear it out. It's gonna keep adding it to there, I guess. 1 through 100, and we'll go 32. Let's go 32,000, and hit go. Sure enough, we have 32,000. Now, of course, it didn't clear it out. We could easily do that if we wanted to. When we hit go, the first thing we could have told it to do would be to clear the items, but that's not important for now. The important part is we learned how to do the loop. So hopefully that did it. If you have any questions on the for loop, please ask them in the comments below. If you'd like to add anything to it, do a video reply or just comment below, and don't forget to rate. We'll talk to you next time.